Hi everyone, hope you're well.
And it's great to have you with us today. This morning we are back in Luke chapter 8. We're going to be looking at the next part from what we've been reading over the last few weeks. And today we're in Luke chapter 8 starting at verse 22. We're not going to muck about, we're going to get straight in and read from the Bible what we're doing. So grab your Bible, turn to Luke chapter 8 and then we'll start at verse 22, because today we've got two stories, the things that Jesus did. One, he's in a boat. The second one, what he does when he gets off that boat. So here we are, Luke 8 from verse 22. One day he, that's Jesus, got into a boat with his disciples, and he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side of the lake." So they set out, and as they sailed, he fell asleep. And a windstorm came down on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in danger. And they went and woke him, saying, "Master, Master, we are perishing." And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the raging waves, and they ceased, and there was a calm. He said to them, "Where is your faith?" And they were afraid, and they marvelled, saying to one another, "Who then is this, that he commands even winds and water, and they obey him?"
Then they sailed to the country of the Gerasenes, which is opposite Galilee. When Jesus had stepped out on land, there met him a man from the city who had demons. For a long time he had worn no clothes, and he had not lived in a house, but among the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him and said with a loud voice, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me." For he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man. For many a time it had seized him. He was kept under guard and bound with chains and shackles. But he would break the bonds, and he would be driven by the demon into the desert. Jesus then asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Legion," for many demons had entered him, and they begged him not to command them to depart into the abyss. Now, a large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside, and they begged him to let them enter these. So he gave them permission. Then the demons came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. When the herdsmen saw this, what had happened, they fled and told it in the city and in the country. Then people went out to see what had happened, and they came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had gone, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who had seen it told them how the demon-possessed man had been healed. Then all the people of the surrounding country asked him to depart from them, for they were seized with great fear. So he got into the boat and returned. The man from whom the demons had gone begged that he might be with him. But Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return to your home and declare how much God has done for you." And he went away proclaiming throughout the whole city how much Jesus had done for him.
Thanks very much. Well, Jesus did two things that were fantastic, that were amazing. And the people that saw them, they had different thoughts and different reactions. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But first, I am going to do maybe the most amazing thing that I can do. And I'd like you to have a little watch and see how you react. What is your reaction to the amazing thing that I do? So watch carefully, and how do you react? So, my amazing thing is actually quite dangerous. I'm going to fire breathe and then fire eat. Don't try this at home. Seriously, don't try this at home. But watch and see what your reaction is. And now, thank you. So what do you think? Pretty cool, wasn't it?
That was pretty impressive, very cool, but also perhaps a little bit silly, I think.
Well, highly trained, don't try it at home. Now, in our reading, Jesus did some amazing things. Now, they weren't tricks or just silliness. They were real, they were truly amazing. But I wonder, Joanna thought my stuff was a little bit cool. I don't know what you thought. But when Jesus did these amazing real things, calming the storm, healing the man, what did the people think? How did they react to him, Joanna?
Well, let's have a look. Okay, so it says again and again that they were amazed, that they marvelled at him, but also again and again it says that they were gripped with fear or they were afraid. And is that right? Why would they have been afraid?
Well, I think it is right that they were afraid because Jesus had done two things that were extremely powerful, but more than that, because Jesus is God. And actually, we're told all through the Bible, in different places, the Old Testament and the New Testament, that we should fear God.
Oh, well, why should we fear God? How do we go about fearing God? What does that mean?
Right, well, here's a couple of examples that might help us to think. First of all, have a little think about fire. Now, fire's not good or bad. It can be used in all sorts of ways. It can be great because it can give you heat and warmth. It can help you cook your food and be excellent in that way. But it can also be bad if things go on fire that you don't want to go on fire, or if you put your hand too near, you can get burned. And so fire, it's good to fear it. But if we think about God, now God is not one or the other. God is absolutely good. He is fantastically good. You can't get any more good than God. And God is holy. He's pure. He's powerful. He's so much more than you or me or all of us. And he is fantastic. And that is just awesome. It's fearsome. But he also allows us to come to him. We must do it correctly. And we fear God as we recognise who he is, what he's like, and what we are like. And, well, fear can have two effects. It can make us run away, or it can make us come near. And this fear of God is not to send us far away, it's to draw us in, to make us run to him, to hide in him, to rely on him, because the only way we can come to God is through Jesus, through trusting in him. And if we do that, it means we see God's awesomeness, but know that we're in him and we're protected in him. But this whole fear of God is quite hard to understand, to think about. You might want to chat about it more in your family. But one of Joanna's favourite books here is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, where Aslan the lion is fantastic. He is like the ruler. He is powerful. And in a way, he's a bit of a picture of what God is like. And when C.S. Lewis writes about how the children meet him, maybe it helps us to understand a bit more what it means to fear God. So Joanna's going to read just a wee bit from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
So, here we go. Aslan a man? Said Mr. Beaver sternly. Certainly not. I tell you, he is the king of the wood and the son of the great emperor beyond the sea. Don't you know who is the king of beasts? Aslan is a lion, the great lion. Oh, said Susan, I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. That you will, dearie, and no mistake, said Mrs. Beaver. If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're either braver than most or else just silly. Then he isn't safe, said Lucy. Safe, said Mr. Beaver. Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Who said anything about safe? Course he isn't safe. But he's good. He's the king, I tell you. I'm longing to see him, said Peter, even if I do feel frightened when it comes to the point.
So as the children get ready to meet Aslan, they are afraid, but they're super excited as well. And maybe that helps us to understand what it means to fear God. So today we've seen two amazing things that Jesus does that show his power, that show something of who he is. How do we react to that? We've thought about what it means to fear God just a little bit, but I've got a couple of challenges for you that might help you and your family to explore that a little bit more. First of all, maybe you can show your family, or even send us, a wee video of something amazing that you can do. What is the most amazing thing that you can do? And see how people react. But then have a chat with your family. How is your amazing thing different to the fantastic, amazing, real things that Jesus did in our reading today? Why are they different? How are they different? And how did Jesus' one show who he is? Then secondly, have a look through the Bible. You might want to use a concordance or even a Bible Gateway on the computer to look up and search for times in the Bible when it talks about us fearing God. Maybe look up a couple and think, what does it mean to fear God? Have a look at them and try and explore a little bit more what that means.
Remember, no broken bones, though. Not allowed any broken bones.
Yes. Be safe and remember, don't try this at home. We'll see you soon. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.